she is opening to that page. Thank you, Cody, showing me he's ready.
You said page what?
101. It's kind of like in the middle towards the bottom. Durrell felt the same way about Blueford High School. You see it? Thank you, Jemiah. She's showing me she's ready. Still waiting on Cameron.
What page? Oh, geez.
101. Durrell felt the same way about Blueford High School. He knew he had to change if he wanted to survive, but he did not know how. He hoped the book would give him the answers. But all he had was more questions. He flipped through the pages again. Durrell noticed that Brian changed most when he started using his mind to solve his problems, instead of just complaining about them. At that point, he taught himself to build a fire, to fish, to make a shelter, to survive. Cody?
But real life is different. The real thought, and I ain't Brian. I don't need to build fires. I got to survive a high school and not in the woods. The world would rather spend the night in the woods than another day at Blueford.
Though the book confused and frustrated him, Durrell had a favorite part. It was the end of the story when a pilot came to rescue Brian. Instead of finding a scared kid, the pilot found a young man standing before him. Brian was still small and he was exhausted, but he was strong inside and out. And Brian was tough, tougher than ever because he had survived storms, injuries, and wild animals. Durrell could feel his pulse quicken, imagining himself in Brian's shoes. I want to be that tough, he thought. Deshaun? Oh, he's not even in here. Brianna.
As good as the book was, the rest still didn't know what to do.
Brianna. Make sure you're reading loud. Can you start back over? You're good. Just loud enough so everyone can hear, especially with the roof stuff going on.
As good as the book was, the rest still didn't know what to do. He still didn't know. He still didn't know how to. How he would be trained, how he would learn to look in the eyes. Or how he would deal with her. He still felt like the same dude.
He wondered what Brian would do if he met Tyrick. He run back to the woods, he thought. Jemiah? During morning classes, Durrell could not concentrate on the day's lessons. He kept wondering if his life would change. But he also had another question, one he got from Hatchet. What should I do to change things? Cameron?
Durrell was putting books into his locker just before lunch when someone shoved him from behind. Sending his body halfway to the right. The side of his head hit the metal door with a loud thud. Then he heard familiar laughter. It was Tyree and Rodney. Tyree, I told you to be more careful in the hallway. You might hurt somebody, Rodney said. Durrell looked up to see the two of them already halfway down the corridor.
Durrell wanted to yell. He had given them his mother's money, and they were still hurting him. Yet he knew if he said anything to either of them, his treatment would only get worse. Deshaun?
Durrell approached track again. He glanced in his backpack. One of his sandwiches had been crushed when Tyree shoved him, and then leaked peanut butter into the inside of his bag. The smell of peanut butter was on everything. Great, he said to himself. Only I am small and weak and now I sleep.
He grabbed his backpack, slammed his locker shut, and rubbed the growing bump on his forehead. He knew other students in the hallway saw what happened. Some had even laughed with Tyree. Others just watched. Now as he looked around, everyone seemed to ignore him, acting as if nothing happened. Samia?
Quickly, Durrell swung his backpack on his shoulder and headed to the cafeteria to meet Harmon. He was imagining Tyree and Ronnie just teasing him for smelling like peanut butter when he noticed a yellow piece of paper tape next to the cafeteria read, Bill confident, dash strength, join the Blue Florida wrestling team, no experience required, freshman welcome. See Coach Lewis for more information. A picture of two guys wrestling was on the sign.
Those words again, he thought. Confidence and strength. His pulse quickened. Those two words were what he needed. But there is no way I can wrestle, he said aloud. Then he looked around to see if anyone had heard him. One girl with long braids stopped and looked at him as if he were crazy, then walked into the cafeteria. I'm too small, he thought. People will laugh at me the second I step on to a wrestling mat. Here is your question. How is the book Hatchet impacting and changing Darrell? So how is the book that he's reading, that Mr. Mitchell gave him, how is it impacting him? How is it changing him? We start from the bottom of 105. Here's your timer. Start. Can you just fix it for me? All right, you can set it to the side. Here's our agenda for today. We did our do now. Sorry, I didn't change that to bully, not the gun. We're gonna go over our do now really quickly, and then I also have your quizzes from Friday graded. I did not bring them with me to pass out because I'm still getting the grades entered because I just got access to Power School this morning, so I need to get those in. But I do have 2 people that we want to celebrate, so we'll do that in a second. We're going to spend time analyzing figurative language and theme today, looking at that poem we started on Thursday, do our rotations, and our explicative. Okay, hopefully else. All right, so do now. Let's go to Janiyah, number 1. I have a couple people with their heads down. You need to make sure that you're sitting up, that you have your do now out, so you're ready to review with us. Okay. Number 2, go ahead, Cody.
A new student might be deciding about being lonely.
Being lonely. Number 3, Elena.
Another word for concern is weary. I said,
Is worried. Awesome. All right, what are we gonna come up with for our celebration today? Last time Taylor gave it to me and everyone got upset because I guess he always comes up with it. So do we have another suggestion? 2 claps? All right. Hopefully I did this right.
Oh my God.
All right, celebrations. People who got over an 80% was, ready?
you're not done grading, right?
No, I'm done grading it.
You done?
I graded it, I just haven't put it in the
Oh,
system
okay.
yet. You ready? Nathan and Anya.
What?
Those are my 2 people.
I might have got 75, so,
I got a
some
76.
slack. It's all right.
All right. Our objective today, you will be able to figure out the figurative meaning of words and phrases in a poem and determine its meaning. Today's goal, can I have, Nathan, can you read it for us?
Today we will analyze the deeper meaning of the figurative language and determine the theme or intended message of a poem.
Nice job, thank you. All right, before we do our rotations, can you guys go ahead and get out your real book? We're gonna open to page 108. I know it's cold, I know there are noises happening on the roof, I really need you guys to stick with me so we can start off our week strong. We have our fall break next week, so we just gotta make it through this week strong. Come on. So you're in your real book, page 108. All right. At the top of the page, you'll see a blue box that reviews figurative language. Can I hear from someone different? Anya, will you read that box for us? The top of 108. We talked about it a little bit last week, but I want to make sure that we review before we do our whole homework. There you go. Yeah.
Figurative language is language that helps to create images in the reader's mind. Figurative language often use words or phrases that do not mean exactly what they say. Examples of figurative language include
Awesome. You can call on someone to read those next two bullet points.
Jemima. Who? No,
We're on 108, the two bullet points at the top.
She said Jemima.
Oh, sorry. Hold on one second. So Jemiah's reading. That means your voice is off. You can either track her, you can track your page. But talking while she's talking is really disrespectful. Can you start back over at personification? Concept. Yep. And the second one? Okay, I'm gonna push you guys. What were some of the other types of figurative language we talked about last week? Thank you, Kaori, for raising your hand. I want one voice at a time, so go ahead.
Alliteration.
Alliteration is one. What's another one? I'm looking for silent hands. There's several. Alliteration is one. Deshaun, did you have another one in mind? No? Janai? Hyperbole is one. Anya? Onomatopoeia is one. So start making sure that you're remembering what those different types of examples are. Go ahead and move on to the chart on that page. Read each quotation from A Place Without Shame that identify the type of figurative language used and what it means. The first quotation says, as we enter the house, we wipe insecurity off our shoes. That's from lines 10 and 11. And it went ahead and gave it to you. That's an example of what, Deshaun? A metaphor. And what it's asking us to do today is to come up with two different things. One, the literal meaning, because we know it's figurative language, so it means something a little different than what it says. And we need to come up with the author's message, which the message of a story is another way of saying the moral. And what's the theme? Yeah. So the literal meaning of metaphor. Brianna, can you read that for us? Great job. And the second one for author's message. Anya? People feel safe and confident when they come home. Let's do the second one. Yes, ma'am. Good question. So, because there's only two in that box at the top, we're only looking at personification and metaphor from the poem we read last week. There are other examples, but they're not going to be in that poem. Okay? Number 2, and hang our marginality on the rack from line 12. What type of figurative language is that? Is it a metaphor or is it personification? I'm looking for a hand, because I want one voice at a time, Nathan.
Metaphor.
It is a metaphor, so you should be writing metaphor in that line. Yeah.
Oh, you already have them down. I like how you made your annotations too.
And I realize that the roof work is really annoying. You guys are doing a great job of working through it. The literal meaning, you gonna try and tackle anything? You're gonna tell us the next figurative language?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do literal meaning first. What does that mean if we hang our marginality on the rack? In our small groups, we talked about margin, like on the margin of our paper. What is the margin of our paper?
The side.
That space on the side. And so if I say you are to the margin, or we're gonna marginalize someone, what are we doing? Putting them to the side. We're putting it in a separate space. So margin is compared to something, in this case, marginality is compared to something like a coat, something that you would hang on a rack. That's what you're gonna write on that next line. Marginality is compared to something like a coat that is hung on a rack. And if I hang a coat on a rack, it means it's not being used. Just like if I were to push someone to the side, if I would move something aside, I'm not using it, I'm putting it away. Yep, marginality is compared to something like a coat that is hung on a rack. Can you give us your margins? And the last one, author's message. What is the author trying to tell us or trying to communicate by using that figurative language example? Not the author. What is the poem? Who is the poem talking about? It is Monday. We need to sit up and wake up. I have a lot of heads down. Sit up. Sit up. Deshaun, sit up. Kayra, sit up. Cameron, sit up. I know it's cold in here. I know it's cold. I know it's loud. I know it's annoying.
I got a heartburn. You got some mustard.
I don't right now. Nope. The author's message, they're trying to communicate that the people no longer feel important. Or sorry, they no longer feel unimportant. They feel like they belong. You can put they feel like they belong. So in the poem, Without a Shame, it's talking about these people who finally feel like they're confident in who they are, that they have a place that they belong. So they're hanging that feeling of being marginalized, they're hanging that on the rack and they're forgetting about it. They're putting it to the side. So in that box you can put, they feel like they belong. I want you to try the third one on your own. I'm gonna come around and check it. We have about 2 minutes left of this section before we start rotations. I'm looking at the third row on your sheet for the figurative language, the literal meaning, and the author's message. I want you to at least try that first box before you go. If your head is down, you're now losing a point. I've already talked to some of you, so then it's gonna